Hello, and thank you for joining us for part 2 of Simon's story. So let's begin. Simon looked at the black and scorched area where the old amusement park once stood as he passed. It had been 2 years since the fire destroyed it, and nothing had taken to grow there yet. The fire itself was written off as accidental from a barrel that the homeless had used. As he stood there, Simon thought he caught a glimpse of John, but passed it off as a trick of the light. "Simon!" Luke jogged up to him. "Why didn't you wait for me?" Simon was quiet. "Simon?" "I don't know, sorry. I was distracted, I guess," he spoke solemnly. "You're always distracted. Maybe Riley is too much in your head." Luke tapped the side of his head as he spoke. Simon gave him a look of annoyance. "It wasn't Riley. It's still in my brain, and I can have thoughts without her. I'm just saying, I'm not sure how it works. I mean, it's not like you to talk about it." "That's because there's no way for you to understand," Simon sighed with more annoyance. "I'm not in the mood to do anything today. Just go home, Luke." Black smoke rose off Simon's shoulders as the wraith took form behind him. She went over and wrapped around Luke. "Rye," Simon called it, but it refused to move. "Rye," Simon was more stern, yet the wraith hissed, staying with Luke. "Well, I do know she isn't going to listen when you're angry, and you know that too." "Whatever. Let her stay." Simon walked away. The wraith tapped Luke on the shoulder, then pointed to Simon. "Alright, I'm going, but he's not in the mood." The wraith wrapped Luke in its smoky body as if it were a hug. "Right, not now." He walked out of the smoke, following after Simon, and she floated after him. "Hey, wait up. We had plans, Simon." He caught up. "I'm stressed today. My head's all over the place like something is coming, and I have no idea what." "Well, you just need to hang. Come on. You don't need to stress for your birthday. Can't have fun with you like this." "It's not like this has been that great of a year with everything that's happened in my family and work. My birthday doesn't seem to be that important." They arrived at Simon's house. No one was home, so they went upstairs to his room and played video games for a few hours until Luke left. Simon went down to the kitchen to get something to eat. His mum must have been out at a friend's house. She was the only one living in the huge house with him. It was a lot of stress on both of them, and he was doing everything to make it easier for his mum. Unfortunately, the stress of Riley and Rye only made things worse. He took out some leftovers to heat up. He wanted to just write in one of Riley's journals and make everything better, but she warned him that bore severe consequences. His life was shit enough. He thought he didn't need to add to it. All this made him draw further away from his friends, worst of all being the loss of having Riley. She was part of him, spoke to him in his head, even if it makes him sound insane, and he also carried her wraith, Rye, who he seemed to be losing control over. Rye came out with his anger, which was a lot lately, and she seemed to be becoming more of her own entity than an extension of Simon and Riley. "Simon?" Rowley spoke in his head. "Yes, Riley." He put his food in the microwave. "You need to listen to Luke and relax." "Relax? That's a joke. Outside of everything here, I get to have the person I love, but never to touch. You know how bad I want you?" "Yes, I do." "And how is that normal with Rye? Not that I want to, but what if I found someone to have a life with, besides you? There's no controlling Rye anymore." "I don't think Rye's your problem as much as she's Luke's. It's a good thing he's single." "She does seem to be clinging to him a lot lately. Can a wraith fall in love?" "Judging from her, it seems so. She's the first wraith I've dealt with on a long term. Honestly, I think Luke may feel the same way. Think that's why he isn't dating." "Maybe. You would know better." He took out his food and picked at it. "I'm not even hungry." He paused. "How can we do this, Riley?" "I don't know exactly, but I think you should get some sleep right now." "Will you come to me in my dreams?" "Of course I will." He left his food on the counter, headed to his room, and went to bed. Riley laid next down to Simon as he slept in his bed. She ran her fingers through his hair and along his jaw to his lips. He stirred slightly to her touch. She leaned in close and ever so softly kissed his lips. "Bro!" His brother burst into the room and ripped the blanket from him. Simon grabbed the blanket, covering up. "Get the fuck out!" He threw a shoe at him as his brother laughed, closing the door. Simon fell back onto the pillows. "Fucking asshole." Close your eyes, birthday boy, Riley whispered. I can at least seduce you, even if you have to do the work. Simon sat up. No, Riley, I can't do this. I want you too much. He grabbed the journal and wrote that he was granted one wish for his birthday, and that wish was for Riley to be alive and here with him. Simon, don't! She was thrown out of his body in a ghost-like form before it took on its own life. She touched her body. I'm alive? She looked at his face as he smiled, and quickly quelled her fear to make him happy. She knew it was too late to change things now, and it was his birthday. He pulled her over and onto the bed. This is all I've wanted. He ran his hand over her body. And you're all I want. They kissed. Simon removed his clothes and moved over to her. Happy birthday, love. Riley laid in Simon's arms after making love. She kissed his neck and he looked down at her. I love you always, my love. He kissed her deeply. I love you too. There was a rumble throughout the house. What the hell? Simon sat up, grabbing his pants and sliding them on. Riley was calm, rather more melancholy. The floor suddenly broke open, with smoke and fire bursting forth like an inferno. A long talon clawed hand reached out and pulled on the floor, followed by a demon beast with melting rotten flesh falling from the bone, a snake-split tongue, cat-like orange burnt eyes, jagged sharp teeth, and 3 sets of horns. One of a bighorn, one of a kudu, and one of a Texas longhorn. It slammed its hoof feet on the floor, splintering it.
She's mine now.
The demon growled out in a deep rumbling voice. You can't have her. Simon moved in front of Riley.
You made your wish, and for that, she is the price you must pay.
Simon got angry as it reached for her, and Rai seeped out from his body, immediately attacking. The demon just flicked her away as she was a fly, slicing her, knocking Rai into the wall. The demon then snatched Riley, jumping into the hole as it vanished before Simon could even react. Simon threw himself at the spot where the hole had been screaming, and trying to bust it open to no avail. Luke came in, looking worried. Simon! No answer. Simon! Still no answer. Simon! She's gone. Riley's gone. It took her. He slumped on the floor in tears. Luke stood confused, not even a clue how to react to this. It was definitely above his level of weirdness. He noticed Rai on the ground seeping out a black ooze. She extended her arm to him and he went over. Luke put his hand to her wound as Simon stood up with a scream of anger and pain. He took the journal and wrote as Luke looked back at Rai. He watched as he started to heal and felt the cold steel go into the back of his neck. He looked up to Simon as he pulled the knife out and Luke held his neck, the blood seeping and spraying from his wound. She's still Riley, and she's not yours. Luke fell over as Rai watched him take his last breath. She let out a banshee-like scream at Simon, rising up from the ground with pure hate. Hate me all you want, Rai. Just go do what I want of you. She glared at him and hissed before going out the window. Simon looked down at Luke for a brief moment before grabbing a shirt and leaving. Simon's brother caught him outside. Bro! He yelled out as he stood next to his car. Simon walked over to him confidently and coldly, as if he were a machine, and slit his brother's throat without so much as a hint of feeling. His brother convulsed as he hit the ground, showered in his own crimson blood. Simon grabbed the keys and took the car, leaving his brother to die. He drove into town, seeing it was already going up in flames at the hands of Rai. He ran through people, killing them, while making sure his words in the journal were actually happening. The whole town was being massacred. He could only feel hate, his heart ripped from his chest. Everyone was going to pay until he had Riley back. If he killed them all, and as a last act, himself, then he would go to hell. He would get her back himself. Simon slammed on the brakes as John stood in front of him, pissed off. John slammed his fist into the hood of the car and growled. Go back home, Simon. This is not the way to get her back. I need to go to hell, and this is how to do it. Move, John. John put his hands on the hood. Go home. No, I need to get her back. He put my foot on the gas and floored it. The tyres peeled and smoked, but the car didn't move. John was illuminating a brilliant light from his body as he held it in place with a powerful blast. He sent the car reeling back,
He marched toward him. "What the fuck?" Simon climbed out of the window. "Are you trying to kill me?" "No. That she wouldn't like. This she wouldn't want. She spent her life protecting this town, and in minutes, you've destroyed it." He pinned Simon up against a car as Rye landed on top. He glanced over at her. She had changed. No longer a Mr. Smoke, but a body and black wings. She kind of reminded him of a Bride of Dracula, if the wings weren't feathered. She's not the same anymore. She had to change to be what you wanted her to be. Killing Luke only drove her farther than need be.
She's all I have of Riley. She's her own entity. She's no longer truly Riley. Simon gazed over at Rye. "You killed my Luke." She came close to his face. "I want him back." "Rye, I don't know how to bring him back." "Then I take no commands from you. I only stay for her." "Go home, Simon. We'll figure this out." John opened the door. Simon hesitated a moment, then got in. "I'll be there soon." He nodded, still wanting to kill everyone, but went home. Simon arrived back at the house, parked in the driveway, and got out. He looked back at the town, seeing the pitch-black billowing smoke rise high in the sky, blackening out the sun. He felt no regret, since the pain and hate he felt was like nothing he ever felt. He just wanted to die. He entered the house realizing the door wasn't locked. Simon held his breath to listen as he heard noises in the kitchen. Quietly, he went down the hall, keeping against the wall. The scuffling came closer to the corner as he waited. Closer and closer. Then Simon jumped, thrusting his knife, halting less than an inch from his mother's throat as she screamed. He dropped the knife. Mum, it's me. I thought you were an intruder. I didn't even know you were home." "Jesus Christ, Simon, you nearly killed me. Where's your brother? He looked worried." "Simon, where is he?" He's... Simon paused. "I think you should sit down." "Sit down? What happened? Is he okay?" "Oh my God." "Sit." Simon sat her down. "There was an accident, and there's no other way to say this, but he's dead." She screamed. "Who did it?" She cried out, and Simon hung his head. "You? What have you done?" She beat on him to no avail. Out of breath, she composed herself. "Get out, Simon. Just get away from me. I don't want to hear any excuses or reasons. Just go." Reluctantly, he left her, and suddenly, all the guilt hit him as he went into his room, grabbing a few things. He looked down at his best friend still on his floor. What had he done? Jesus Christ. What had he done? Simon snuck back down, avoiding his mother, and out to the car. He threw a few things he took in the back seat before getting in and driving off. After about a half hour on the road, there was a thump on the roof, with scraping of nails. He slammed on the brakes, and Rye climbed down to the hood. John got in the passenger's side, and after hiding her wings, Rye climbed in the back. "You really think you were going to get away with leaving us, did ya?" "Riley is like a GPS on your location." "Well, maybe I was hoping. You don't sound as angry. What happened?" "I nearly killed my mother, and I did kill my brother and Luke." "Well, we know you killed my Luke. Riley would not like that you did that. He was good. I let her down. She told me not to write my wishes. I destroyed everything." "Not going to sugarcoat that because you did." Simon looked at John, tears starting. "Pull over. I know where we can go. Besides, I don't need you crashing this car with us in it." Simon pulled over and they switched. John started driving. "I don't want to live anymore. You give up quick. I thought you wanted Riley back." "How? How can I get her back from hell?" "Riley doesn't belong in there. They can keep her, but they can't have her. You just have to man up and do what is needed to save her." "I'd do anything to save her. What do I have to do? Stop toying with me and tell me. Once we get to where we are going, we'll find out." "And where are we going?" "The safest place I know. North Canada in the mountains. You are now a wanted man. Well, in a day or two when they figure it out." Shit, Simon punched the dashboard. This hasn't even crossed my mind yet. I mean, I didn't plan on not killing myself. Rye rolled her eyes. Stupid creature. Get some rest, it's a long drive. Simon laid his head back and fell asleep rather quickly.
Simon? He opened his eyes as he heard Riley's voice. Simon, help me! Where are you, Riley? A scream jolted him awake. John looked at him. Bad dream? Simon rubbed his eyes, looking out into the dark. Yeah, you could say. Where are we? Just about there. He finally focused, noticing all the snow, trees and mountains as John got out. Come on, let's go. Simon got out along with Rye. She shivered a bit, and he gave her his coat. John pulled the white tarp over the car, and they climbed up onto the mountain on what looked like carved-out steps. Poles were spaced out every 5 feet, and a chain hung between them. What is this? Do you remember the sage? Simon nodded. This is his home when he was alive. John pressed a code on a small panel, opening a door hidden as a rock. They went in. Simon spun around in awe of the home built inside the mountain. He was rich and eccentric, had little faith in mankind, so he built this. All self-sufficient. It's incredible. But if he's dead now, how is it kept up? Well, that would be me. I've learned to be a jack of all trades. So now that we're all here, how do we get Riley back? This is your task, young man. The sage appeared in his transparent form. Like any great man, you must complete tasks. I don't care what I have to do. Just tell me what the tasks are. You have to defeat 9 demons of the pride. It's the pride that gave the gift of story to Riley's family many centuries ago. Each defeat releases the bond of oath and will free her and bring it back. You must kill them all. The boy? He does this and gets his love back. I don't get mine though. I don't think that's the case, Rye. The sage looked to his side, and Rye followed his gaze. She lit up as she saw Luke and ran to him. He took her in his arms, kissing her. She looked at him. I'm happy, but how is this? You're not a spirit. No, Rye. He let his black wings out. I'm not alive either. Luke, Simon spoke awkwardly. I'm sorry I didn't... We're brothers, remember? He held up his hand, revealing the scar. We're bound by oath. I'm not going to spend my eternity angry with you. We're good. Thank you. Now all we have to do is kill some demons and get Riley back. Yes, we do.